y'all, and welcome to today's video. It's gonna be a fun one. You read the title right. Sandra, the owner, CEO, creator of Adept Cosmetics, is going to be in this video. We did a Zoom call together. We're going to be answering some questions that we get. I know I asked y'all if you had any questions about the collab. I know Adept did the same on their Instagram. So we just kind of talked about some things that we get asked and things that we wanted to talk about, and we really just had fun chatting together about the palette, about the process. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have never done a video like this, so if the editing is a little weird or a little choppy or anything like that, please do forgive me. Bear with me. I had a lot of fun, and I'm hoping when I go to edit this that I can make it a nice cohesive video for y'all to watch. I hope that y'all are all doing amazing, but yeah, I want to jump into it. I want to introduce Sandra to y'all, have her tell y'all a little bit about Adept and talk about the collab. With all that being said, if you are new here for the first time, hey, my name is Heather. Makeup makes me happy. Here at my channel, we don't try to be perfect. You're gonna see that in the video coming up, but we do like to have fun here. I upload lots of new videos every single week, and if you didn't know, Adept and I did work together to create the Heather Austin palette. This one's very used and abused. I don't know why I didn't grab a nice new one for to show y'all in this video, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super chill. So with all that being said, let's jump into it.
So I'm Sandra. I am the owner of Adept Cosmetics, and I basically just come up with all the ideas. And my husband, who you saw before, puts it to fruition for me. He does all because there is some engineering involved. You have to do like CAD drawing, and then you have to test everything to make sure that it's not going to smash in the box, and he does all that. And I come up with I want to make this, I want it to look like this, and I need something to show exactly what I want, so that the supplier knows what to do, because you have to step-by-step instructions. And I don't have what do you call it, the patience to sit around and do all that, but my husband does, so I give him all the stuff. I tell him what to do, and he does it all for me and makes all the engineering drawings and things like that. Because you have to, when you put the eyeshadows in the palette, the formula has to work with the palette, otherwise, you'll get mug all over the place.
Yeah.
My husband, I want to make a magnetic palette, and I want it to stack, and it has to look nice, and it has to be all this other, you open this one? Thanks. And it has to work this way and that way. And so he did a drawing for me. And it looked exactly the way I wanted it to. So
that's awesome. And here you are now with your brand.
We've been together for 20 years.
Oh, so that's awesome. Well, congratulations, but that's amazing. So I'm excited. We're going to do this interview. Oh, look at it. Hey, I actually did have a question about that, and I didn't know if I could ask you. People were asking when your magnetic palettes and stuff are coming back. That looks so good.
They take a little longer for the than the eyeshadow, but they're coming back.
Yeah. I know people are like, when are they coming back? So that way they can mix and match all their palettes. So awesome. Okay, so a lot of people were asking us kind of about the color story. And when Sandra first messaged me on Instagram, I was like, oh, shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to me. And then my mind immediately went to okay, I have to have a deep dark green. Whatever I do, I have to have a deep dark green. So after, a little bit, I remember you sent me a picture of some shades that you were working on. And I remember seeing video chat, you had that shade and you were showing me the shifts, and I was like, "Can I have that? Can I have that one in my palette?" And, so we kind of, like, started building the color story from shades that I knew I wanted in something I put my name on, and then some shades that you had been working on too that you showed me, and I was like, "Can I have those?" So you sent me some samples, and from there, we were kind of like, I don't know, I feel like when you have a few shades, you can kind of, like, go from the color story. So, I have brought my palette, like, or I set it right here with me so I could remember, but, like, once I had this shade, I think this was a matte that you had been already working on, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, those 2 go perfectly together." And then I remember looking at colors, like Pantone colors, to come up with this shade. But yeah, the color story, I mean, I like things that are very light to dark in a palette so I can create like a lot of contrast. And yeah, I feel like we really like came together. Like it was Adept and me together, the brand and me, not
Every
just Adept, not just me.
we have like the same taste.
Yeah,
Like I like,
exactly.
oh my God, Tom. Um,
Oh, I have to leave that in because that's cute.
I like, I don't know if you could tell, but I like jewel tones. I'm
Yeah.
always drawn to all my palettes. I'm really trying to get away from it and do like more pastel. But I have yellow skin, so it's really hard to test pastels on me because it looks horrible.
Mhm.
So I feel like pastels look better on pale people.
Yeah, they do. But they can also be good to, like, mix and match with your jewel tones? So but yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine that as a brand, it's hard to create stuff that's not you as a person? I
Yeah.
thought too, maybe we could talk about, like, the shade, especially scrubs, because
Oh,
that one took so long. So, a few people were asking, like, what was the last shade in the palette, or what was the shade that you changed the most? And it has to be this one. This
right.
one,
I had to
how
change
many
here to get it.
yeah, I was trying to think of how many times you actually sent me a sample of that shade, and I would
And
swatch it and be like, I don't know," and you'd text me back right away like, "Yeah, it's not right. I know. We're gonna work on it."
yeah, because the first couple ones at hard panned, it wasn't sparkly enough for what people expect. And it wasn't sparkly enough, and it didn't I couldn't see the shift really well. So we
Yeah,
had
that one took a long time, and I remember too, we were talking about, like, we wanna put in as many multi-chromes as possible while also not making it like a $80 palette
yeah, it's
too.
hard though, especially
Yeah.
when hands, but
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand, like, how expensive multi-chromes are, which I wouldn't either unless I had been talking to you and you were like, "This is what we can do, this is what we can do." So,
mhm.
I know both of us were wanting to put in, like, the most sparkly, the most shifty, and this one, like, Austin's probably one of my favorites. I feel like that one has such a strong shift, almost like a rainbow, and the packaging too. We went through a lot of different packaging
Oh,
samples. Yeah, like we started with like a neon lime green
oh, right.
metallic.
Metallic green, and it didn't match the elegance of the color story, in my opinion.
No, it didn't, because once
It's
the color story was coming together, yeah, it was very like luxurious. And the green, well, I think it would be cute for like another collection. I like the color. It just didn't fit with
yeah,
this.
go with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then yeah, you sent me, like, different letterings, and, I think we had, like, a bronze one, but I'm so happy, like, when we both saw this one, we were like, "Yeah, that's the one."
Mhm.
So that
Right.
was super fun. A lot of people wanted to know, like, why did you wanna work with me of all people? Not that they're insulting me, but
Oh, the reason why I wanted to work with you because you see, like, all your videos would pop up on my YouTube, and like you seemed to love our stuff. So I was like, maybe I should ask her. What's the
Yes.
worst thing?
I remember you told me, you're like, "I was nervous to ask you." I was like, "Me?" Because at the time you asked me, I think I had, like I know I was less than half of what I have now. I think I had, like, around 7,000 followers or YouTube subscribers. So
Oh,
I
really?
was just, like, shocked.
Oh, yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a palette with someone that I knew really liked our stuff.
Yeah. It
Every
was
time I watch a video, you just seem thrilled,
yeah.
to have a palette. So,
Yeah, I love makeup and I love Adept. Like y'all make the coolest, funnest stuff. I mean, Plain Jane was how I first tried your
mhm.
brand. So yeah, it was perfect. So a lot of people were asking about that. And then people were asking if since the palette is limited edition, will we offer singles? But I know you and I talked, even though the palette's limited edition, we're gonna keep it around long enough for everybody to get it who wants it. It's not like it's going away tomorrow.
Right. And I don't sell singles anymore. I don't know if you want to get into that on here, but I can explain why.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of indie brands getting away from singles. So yeah, if you want to explain,
Yeah.
I think people would love it.
Singles, one, they're really expensive to make. So my starting cost, if I do a single, is going to be $5, and that's because I use a fulfillment center to ship everything, and they charge $5 per for one item that you put into a box.
Mhm.
So most people, they'll buy maybe 5 to 10 singles, maybe more than that. So you take 5 times 5, that my minimum cost is going to be $25, and that doesn't include the box, the postage, the bubble wrap. So it's better for me if I do a palette, and that way I can make the money back.
Yeah,
Otherwise, sell single for, like, I don't know, $15 to $20 maybe. So
right.
the $5 is just the cost to ship it to the labor for the company that I use, which I don't really mind that. I think they do a great job, and everyone tells me that, we have the great packaging and stuff, and that
Yeah.
everything is fairly shipped. So I have no complaints. But like singles, mm-mm.
Yeah,
No,
I agree. I mean, I love palettes, so it's easy for me to say, but like all of the shadows, I know I've shown this on my channel before, but like you print the names on the back of them too. So it
oh
like
yeah,
if
fun
you
people.
wanted singles, well, of course I'm gonna drop my palette. Like that's something I try to point out because I know there's a big part of the beauty community that just wants singles, but with these palettes, they're so easy to pop out and the name's there. So you don't have to worry about labeling them or anything like that if you want to mix and match your palettes. I've seen a lot of people doing that on Instagram, like mixing different Adept palettes, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Okay.
everybody's asking for round two, and Sandra and I have actually talked about this,
Oh,
and
round two, right?
yeah, I would love to work with Adept again, maybe in the future. But I would also really love like other creators to get the opportunity to work with you because for me, like it literally changed my life. It's like it's been such a huge thing for me. And I would love to see like other creators get that opportunity too, because like I said, I'm such a tiny creator. And when I think about, collab palettes, I think about people with just these huge massive followings. So to know like that you value people not based on their numbers, not based on their following, like I'm excited and hopeful that maybe you'll collab with some other creators and we can see like what y'all create together too.
Well, it's not just that, but I can't hog you all to myself
Yeah.
too. Other opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, no matter what, like, you create, it's gonna be so cool, but, yeah, I'm excited to know, like, what's coming. It's gonna be fun, whatever it is. People so I feel like that kinda answers the round 2 question. We're not currently like, you and I are not currently working on anything together. We're proud of this, and I honestly feel like I can't focus on much than this. I had somebody complain to me on my channel the other day that I use my palette too much. And I'm like, well, it's my favorite of the minute, the hour, the century.
They were getting tired of seeing the palette on our Instagram, and
Yeah. I'm like,
I so it was so much work, and I'm so proud of it that I can't help but always talk about as much as I can.
Yeah, exactly. And when something like this happens, it's not like, sometimes it's hard to please people. It's either too much new stuff or not enough new stuff, but I'm like, listen, I'm going to be wearing this when I'm 80 years old. It is what it is. Talked about people were asking for sneak peeks, but I will say everybody should follow Adept on Instagram and on TikTok because you do show sneak peeks on stories. So anybody who wants sneak peeks, y'all need to follow because that's where you're showing stuff.
Yeah, it's so
Um,
weird because on Instagram stories, I have a completely different audience there. Do you notice that with yours too? Like,
yeah, not everybody watches stories, and I'm like, but I post stuff there.
right, my stories, it's like I don't even see these people on a daily basis, but they are following and they're there, but they don't interact with the post, which is fine. But
Mhm,
man, interact with the stories. It's
mhm.
incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so somebody was asking how long the palette took to make, and I don't think I ever talked about that in any of my videos. And I was trying to remember because there was it moves fast in some places, but then it moves slow in other places. So I was trying to remember when you asked me, we released it at the end of March. But
Mhm.
when you asked me, I want to say not quite a full year, but almost.
Yeah, it takes about a year is what I say. And
Yeah, because I know you text me at first and we kind of talked about just like we want to make a palette. This is kind of the idea. And then there was kind of a period where it took a little while because, like they have to make the shades and then they have to ship you the shades. Then you have to ship me the shades. And then, like, it takes a long time just to try because it's not like just a swatch. It's like, okay, let me put it on my
well,
eyes.
yeah, it's not just that, but I buy my own ingredients, so I have to make sure that everything, that all my claims are true. So that's why I have to do my own auditing. Plus, we do an inspection and quality control because the products are made by people and people make mistakes.
Mhm.
So you have to you know just there's a lot of oversight to make sure that what you envision is actually what you're going to get at the end.
Mhm.
So that's why it
Yeah.
takes a
I
while.
I know you've shown some on your Instagram stories now, but I remember you sending me videos of them like throwing the box with the palette and then
Oh,
opening it to make sure it doesn't break because
it fails.
yeah, yeah,
Start all over again. I
right. And then
nothing more
it's like,
broken.
yeah, it takes a lot to do that part. And then with the mats, it was for me, it's really hard to test a mat. Like I have to use the mat and use the mat and use the mat and make sure like I remember there was a day I put on eyeshadow primer and I did it. Then I picked up the eyeshadow primer that I hate and I did my makeup with that. Then I did it with no eyeshadow primer. And then, so it takes a long time. I think
Yeah,
people, especially when they're used to these huge brands putting out new releases like every week or every 2 weeks, it probably seems like it doesn't take that long. And maybe for some brands it does, but I know with you, you don't release a lot of products. So for me, I will say it made it easier in my testing process because I know you weren't going to send me anything that wasn't something that you would want the Adept name on. So then I had to make sure, okay, it wasn't something I didn't want my name on. But because I already loved your brand, it did make it a little easier, but it still was a ton of testing. I know I sent you several photos where I swatched on my arm and then I had my husband and he
mhm.
had swatches all over his arm. So it was fun. And then I know a lot of people really liked and thank y'all so much for all the love. If y'all watched my reveal video and y'all said thank you to my bestie Yanika, she let me swatch on her. So it was really, really cool. And that was a big thing when you and I were talking about, wrapping everything up. You were saying you were going to have swatches on different skin tones before the palette went for sale. So I was super grateful for that. Even though I had been testing on my friend, there's a certain quality of swatches that your brand is gonna do that I'm not able to do. So, yeah, when we were putting the color story together too, that's something we thought about, especially with, like, the mid-tone shade, because obviously, like, this could have been way lighter and it could have worked for you, it could have worked for me, but would it work for everybody? So, I don't know, it was fun, like, doing the makeup process was fun. I'm sure you brand owners have a lot of fun when y'all are putting stuff together.
Yeah, it could be fun, but it's also frustrating and challenging. But yeah, it's fun, especially
Yeah,
when see your idea come to life and you get the feedback and it's mostly positive. So
yeah,
that's where
I will say the feedback has been really positive on this palette. Have you seen that too? Well, I mean, I know you have because we talk, but yeah, everybody's so, like, kind. Like, every time I see somebody tag me on Instagram, I'm just like, there's people are so creative and they're just so nice.
yeah, I
I'm super thankful of that for that. Okay, a lot of people wanted to know, this is not based on my collab and you don't have to answer, but are you going to continue with the superhero inspiration? Because we have House of L, we have Arrow. You don't have to give anything exact, but do you get inspired by, like, the DC universe?
yeah, in fact, when I created this company, my goal was to make an arrow
Ah,
palette. I couldn't afford it at the time.
yeah.
So I made what I my another idea that I had, which was the double-sided Adept palette. And I used the money that I made from that to start making, what I actually want to do. But I tell my husband that now that I have this arrow palette coming out, I really have no more goals. So what do I do now? Because making the arrow palette is my dream come true.
Yeah.
So hopefully people like it.
Yeah, they will. They will for sure because House of L, I mean, that was one of my favorite palettes of the year. If anybody watched my palette ranking, like, that was so good. And I thought the theme was so fun because it wasn't, a direct, like, IP collab, but it was like inspiration and it was really
Well,
fun. So
yeah, the color story was based off of the comic books. I know a lot of people didn't, obviously from the comments, they don't read them or pay attention to the colors in the books, but
yeah. Well, my son knew. He's a big DC fan, big comic book fan. So he knew anytime I have a question about anything, I'm just like, help me with this. Even like the ColourPop Star Wars stuff, I'm like, tell me how to say this. So that's fun. Oh, I love it. I think that's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see the Arrow palette, and I mean, there's so many different things you can do. So people are excited because I did get asked about that a lot. So they'll
yeah,
love that.
color pop will always, having, doing a collab with an IP. I don't want to be that brand, but I do
Yeah.
want to do what I dreamed of doing, which is
Yeah.
the so
Yeah, and it's so cool to get inspiration like that, like people were saying, asking me, how did we come up with this color story? And I'm like, I don't know, like, I just think about what do I want to wear, and then once I thought of, like, what do I want to wear, I thought about what do other people I know want to wear? Like, is this palette just going to be for somebody who loves makeup, is on beauty YouTube, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be something for everybody.
yeah.
And even now, like, I can tell when I see my mom, I'll be like, "You're wearing my palette, aren't you?" And she's like, "Yes." And her makeup aesthetic is completely different from mine. She is like barely a makeup wearer, but she wears it all the time. And so I love that. And I feel like I see that with all of your palettes. Like, there's a look I can do, and I'm like all about the drama. I want you to be able to see my makeup from a mile away. But then I see other people creating looks on Instagram, and they're like completely different from what I would think of doing.
hmm
So, yeah, it's really fun. Is there anything else you think that maybe people would wanna know about?
Um, no, but you're really good at this. Thank God you're doing most of the talking.
Oh, I'm used to talking to myself. for hours and hours and hours. So I can go on and on and on. So I'll say thank you, Sandra, for coming on with me. I know we talked about doing this so long ago, and then it's just like, I felt like I don't know if I was like putting too much pressure on myself to have like this like perfect idea. In the end, I told my husband, I was like, I'm just gonna ask Sandra if she has time. We'll post this big video on Vlogmas. I'm just gonna record on my laptop because I'm like, I'm so not tech that I'm like, once I had everything done with my filming setup, I'm like, I'm scared to mess up my camera for live. So I don't think anybody will mind though. I think everybody had hopefully enjoyed this. So thank you, Sandra, so much for agreeing to come on and talk about the collab because it's my dream come true and I just love it. And I know so many people have picked it up recently. So many people told me it was on their Christmas wish list. And it's just like super humbling. I'm like, I can't like imagine that somebody's going to get my palette for Christmas. I'm just tag me in your photos, tag me in Adept if y'all get it for Christmas because we want to see.
Yeah, I hope everyone loves it as much as
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you, Sandra. I'll let you get to dinner.
Okay, bye, Heather.
Yeah, bye. See you later. All right, I hope y'all had fun. I had fun talking with Sandra. I hope this video was a good time for y'all to watch. Maybe you enjoyed hearing some of our process, hearing us just talk about makeup. It was a really good time. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you follow Adept on Instagram and TikTok because like I said, Sandra is always showing some sneak peeks over there and it's super fun. So you need to be watching those Instagram stories. I will have the Adept Instagram, TikTok, website, everything linked down below for you. So definitely check out those links. Thanks again for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day and I will see you soon. Bye.